This book made me so mad because of the love triangle. You're about to watch me read Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the third book in the Stalk and Jack the Ripper series. I'm going to be updating you periodically with my thoughts right before I read the book, at the 100-page mark, halfway mark, and when I finish the book. So let's go back in time to understand why did I get so mad at this book. Okay, it's time to read the third book. I think I have high expectations because the first book was good, the second book was even better, and so here we have the third book and I'm really excited about it. The way that I understand it is that we know that they're on their way to America because her Uncle Jonathan had showed up in the last book and is like, I need you two to basically help me solve this crime that's happening. And they're like, okay, let's do it. So off they go to some ship, I think, and on that ship there's like this kind of like circus, like kind of traveling escape artist, but then there's like a murder that happens, and so obviously the murderer is on the boat, and so they're gonna like do some cool investigating and stuff, and I think the entire book takes place just on the ship, so that's gonna be really interesting. I love how creative all of these kind of like storylines are, and I'm really excited to see like where it's gonna go, especially because Thomas had confessed his love to her and she confessed her love to him in the last book, and I'm like, I'm so excited to see where that's going to go. So without further ado, let's read Escaping from Houdini. Oh, but wait, we know the drill. I gotta take this little dust cover off first and see if there's a design underneath. I imagine the book is probably gonna be blue because this is kind of like a blue, so it's probably gonna be a blue-black, and I imagine similarly to 100 Prince Dracula, it's probably just gonna have like the kind of embroidered stamp of the publisher. So let's see. Oh wait, we're gonna open it backwards. Ah, wait, what? It's purple, really? Okay, I didn't expect that, but honestly, purple's my favorite color, and I think this is very pretty. Escaping from Houdini, little LB, little brown books. Cool. Honestly, I think it's very pretty. It was a bit of a jump scare because I really did think it was going to be blue, but that's okay. This is like one of my favorite shades of purple. So yeah, let's read this book for real now. So I'm now a little bit more than 100 pages into Escaping from Houdini, and here are my thoughts so far. The murderer in this one is super, super fascinating to me because of the way that he's just so different from all of the others, because what he does, or what she does, is basically takes these first-class passengers and kind of like stages them to look like a tarot card. And so there's one where it's like the Seven of Swords, and so that person has like a bunch of swords stabbed in them. There was another person who was like upside down as like a reverse tarot card, and then another character who was burned to represent like the star. And so it's super, super morbid, but really fascinating. Again, how is this a YA book with how graphic it is? Either way, I love it. So our characters are basically on this ship for 7 days, and it's like every single day when this Moonlight kind of like circus is doing their thing, something happens. There's one day where nothing happened, but most of the time there's that circus performance and then somebody is brutally murdered in the form of like a tarot card. And so the characters are trying to like figure out what's going on while also trying to make sure the passengers aren't terrified. And some people actually think that it's part of the act, but then they're starting to realize that it's not. And so our characters are scrambling to try to figure out like who's responsible for this and why are they doing it and what is the connection to the tarot cards, and just trying to get inside of the mind of someone like this. So I think that that's really fascinating. The only thing that annoys me in this one is this character Metasopheles, because he's like super interested in Audrey Rose and I don't trust him, and it feels like he's trying to like separate her from Thomas, and it's like, stop it. She and Thomas are meant to be forever. And so she's kind of like going behind Thomas's back and like made a deal with him that I don't think was a very wise move, and now I don't know, the part kind of annoys me because I'm like, no, why would you do that? Like, don't do that. But aside from that, I think the rest of it is pretty good. I'm really enjoying just trying to unravel the mystery and trying to figure out like what the connection is. I try to figure it out before the characters. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. So we'll see how the rest of the story goes. But so far it's a really interesting setting, and it's kind of reminded me a little bit like Caraval, except like with murder. So I'm going to continue to read Escaping from Houdini, and I'll update you around the halfway mark, so I will see you then. So I'm definitely more than halfway through Escaping from Houdini, and this Metasopheles guy he's making me so mad. He's so manipulative, and he's trying to tear apart Audrey Rose and Thomas's relationship, and he's just like, he's making me so mad. I want to throw the book across the room sometimes just because of how mad it's making me. And Thomas is like so heartbroken because he doesn't know if like what he's seeing is actually like Audrey expressing interest in this guy instead of him, and he's like, I'm fuming. I'm so fuming. So as I'm reading the book, usually I would have like a list of suspects, but I don't feel confident on anybody being the killer. Like, there's like the obvious where you would want to pick Metasopheles because he's the bad guy, or you'd want to pick Houdini because his name is in the book name, or maybe the doctor guy who just refuses to come out of his room. I have no idea. Like, I don't, usually I feel pretty confident about who I think it is, but I don't feel confident on who the killer or potentially killers are in this case and like what their motive is. So it's definitely interesting to see more and more stuff happen. The murderer is really into displaying these bodies and going with the tarot card theme. So I'm curious about like what the reasoning is behind that. What have these people done that relates to the tarot cards that are being represented? I'm not sure, but it is really cool to read a story with such a different setting. I don't think I've ever read a story that takes place on a boat before, so it's kind of like Caraval if Caraval was on a boat and if there was like a murder mystery at the same time. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, but that one guy is just making me so mad. I just don't want him to be here. So I'm going to continue to read Escaping from Houdini, and I will update you when I finish the book with my final thoughts, so I will see you then. So I just finished Escaping from Houdini, and I would say this is probably the weakest book in the series. And the reason I say that is because of that useless love triangle, and there was not enough Wadsworth and Cresswell teaming up, kind of cool super sleuth stuff that we've seen in the previous two books. He was really just like cast aside for this Metasopheles guy that I did not care about. And I don't know, it felt like the characters, like all of their flaws that they were kind of like getting over in the previous books just kind of went boom into this book and just came back. It feels like all the growth that they went through was just kind of like stifled, and I'm really upset that there was not enough Cresswell time. I will say though that the descriptions and the setting and like just like the magical carnival kind of vibes were really well done. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really cool setting that I've never really read before. I loved the idea of them all being trapped on the ship while there's like a murderer loose. That was really fun as well. And honestly, I can't believe that I could not figure out who the murderer was, because when I think back to it, it's actually really obvious, and I just did not see it. So I really liked that because it was not who I thought it was. I didn't even know who I thought it was, to be honest. Like, that was the point. I was like, I had no idea who I thought it was. And yeah, so that was good. I really loved just how messed up it was. Like, posing these passengers in tarot card kind of like ways to represent why they were murdered. I thought that that was so cleverly done. But like, why did we need Metasopheles? We did not. He was so manipulative. There was nothing special about him. I don't understand why Audrey Rose was even taken by him. Like, you have a Thomas Cresswell, like, come on. And I also kind of felt like the story was a little bit all over the place. Like, the way that Liza was in the book, I felt like didn't really make any sense. And I don't know, there was just some stuff in there that I don't think it was just as good. Like, I don't think the pacing was as good. I think that the mystery was still really good though, and I really liked the setting, but I think it would have been better if there was no love triangle and we got the kind of story that we've expected within this series, where you have Thomas Cresswell and you have Audrey Rose and they're trapped on a ship and there's like banter and romance and mystery and murder and uncovering stuff together, because she wasn't telling him anything. She wasn't sharing information with him. They weren't working together. And I'm like, what? Why? Why are you not doing that? Like, yeah. So today we are going to be awarding Escaping from Houdini a total of 3 stars. I think if I wasn't so interested and obsessed with like the cool setting of the book and just like so in love with Kerri Maniscalco's writing and all the characters, I probably would have given it a lower rating, to be honest. I feel like I angry read this entire book just because I was like, okay, yes, we're finally gonna get some like stuff that I was expecting, and then it's like, oh, this love triangle. And I'm like, I do not care about this guy. Get out of here. But yeah, overall, it was still entertaining though, which is good. But I feel like I have like very mixed feelings on it, and it just didn't hold up the same as the other books in the series. So the next book that I'm going to be reading is Capturing the Devil by Kerri Maniscalco. This is the 4th and final book in the Stalk and Jack the Ripper series, so I'm very sad that this is almost over, but yeah, I'm excited to see like how the story's going to end. I'm having a really great time with this, so if you're interested in watching me finish the series, definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!